Hey guys, Donna here at Hazelbell Farm, and we are back in my shed today where I'm starting some seeds. So I thought I'd go over how I start seeds every year, if I'm succession sowing or if I'm just planning out a new season. This is how I like to start seeds. Not always. I've started seeds a number of different ways, but this is how I'm doing it today. So this isn't really a how you should start seeds video. Everybody has a different need and a different desire and a different way, and that's okay. I really like to plug the idea that there is no one correct way and that you should do what works for you at your home or on your farm. So today I am starting seeds, a bunch of older seeds. These are the varieties I'm going to start. These are actually not older, these are newer. Got these from my local farm store. So it's a hybrid cauliflower, snowball cauliflower. But these guys are older. I wish I could tell you when they were packaged for. I'm sure it's labeled on here. So, packaged for 2019. So it's 2023. It's been a couple of years. I don't know what kind of germination rate I'm going to get. And so this is one reason why I like to start seeds the way you're going to see today, is because I don't know the germination rate. I don't know what I'm going to get. And I don't like to waste space in my planting. So if I were to do separate cups for one seed per cup, and I get a low germination rate, I've wasted a lot of time and materials that I'm going to have to redo. So I'm also doing these Katarina F1 hybrid cabbages. Love these cabbages. And this Bell Star broccoli is also a hybrid. It's an F1 hybrid. These are my favorite broccolis. I was going to say that I don't grow anything else, but that would be a lie. But these are my favorite. I also have these Waltham broccolis, and I might start these today as well. We'll see. These Bell Star do very, very well through our hot spikes that we have here in Florida. So as we grow these brassica type vegetables in the cooler season, the Bell Star broccoli tolerates the heat better than anything else I found. I haven't seen pests really bother it. And it's just a great, large, tight broccoli head, and we like that for eating. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so a couple things that you are going to need to start your seeds besides your seeds. I also have markers. So I already have these written out with what we're going to plant. You need something to plant in. I'm using a 10-20 tray, and this is a cheaper version that I got off of Amazon, but it's a great little tray. I've got several of these stacked up here, and they don't last forever. You can see this one's broken. But these fit different size pots, and I am using them to start seeds. You don't have to have anything this fancy. I have started seeds in things like just this plain little Tupperware, or empty yogurt containers. I've used all kinds of things. And then you need a medium to plant in. This Fox Farm brand is my favorite. You don't need a seed starting mix. Today we're going to use this Ocean Forest one. This Fox Farm brand is a pricier option. You don't have to do that. You can use any kind of potting soil, or garden soil is not going to be that great. It's going to be real chunky and chippy, so you might have to sift it. And even this, sometimes it has to be sifted. You can see it does have some bigger pieces, but it's also light enough that I'm able to use it for starting seeds. You could use a seed starting mix. However, those mixes are sterile, and you need to remember that they don't have any kind of nutrition included. So you're going to have to add some fertilizers to those plants as soon as they germinate and sprout and get started. This does have some nutritional value to it, which is one of the reasons why I like using it. It's a quality live soil as well. So we're going to go ahead and get some put in the tray. I'm going to moisten it so that it's wet-ish. It's damp. We don't want it dripping. And I'll show you how I start seeds. I'm going to start by just dropping in a bunch of soil. And I'm just going to use my hands. I could find a scoop somewhere. Another favorite way I like to start seeds is to make my own mix with 50% compost, 50% peat moss, and then I like to add a cup or two of blood meal for some heavy nitrogen, and that's a good way to start. So I'm not filling this tray. I'm only using this to start the seeds in. So they aren't gonna live in here forever. And I have some water here to pour in. Okay, this looks good. So I can squeeze this. If I squeezed it very hard, I might get a couple of drips, but not much. So it's just right. Pat it all down. I'm gonna start by using something to mark a line in my soil, so I know where to stop. All right, so I'm going to start with my Katarina cabbage. This is how we do it. I'm going to plant all of the seeds that I have left. And I don't space them out. I don't worry about if there's too many together. Sprinkle some dirt on top. And I don't want these planted deep, so this is why I like to do this. One mistake I see a lot of new gardeners do is that they plant their seeds entirely too deep. I just want these just under the surface. A good rule of thumb is planting depth should be 2 times the width of the seed. And you saw how small those seeds were. So just under the surface, so that's how I do that. And then an easy, gentle way of watering is to use a spray bottle. Now, one thing that seeds need, even your cold-loving plants like these brassicas that we're gonna grow, is they need warmth to germinate. So in this shed, I'm keeping some chicks, and I'm keeping a small space heater set on low, so it'll stay warm enough to germinate these. If I'm starting something like peppers or tomatoes and eggplants, those nightshade things, you're definitely gonna want to start those on a heat mat. Or wait until your weather is warmer and the ambient air temperature is in the 80s consistently. Here's my seeds started. I'm going to put a plastic cover over this to help keep them from drying out, and I'm going to throw them on the shelf, and then I'll show you what I do once they've sprouted. All right, I'm super stoked to show you what happens once they germinate and what we're going to do next. Wow. These are great for holding the water, and I haven't had to water these at all, and I started them on 112. Some of these are just starting to come up still. Some of them do need a little bit of water, and some of it just looks great. So these are my sweet baby bell peppers. I hadn't even seen them up at all. They're still coming up too, and look how big some of them are. Now sometimes you'll see them with this little seed cap still on there. We kind of call that a hat. You don't want to just rip that off, but you can lick your fingers and pull it off gently that way. And your saliva helps break that down to pull them apart. All right, so let's take care of these guys. I'm so excited. Now, these cups have drain holes. I like to use a little soldering iron to burn holes in a couple at a time. You could use a drill. I find the soldering iron easier to melt the holes in instead of the drill. The drill, you tend to push down and crunch these and you end up getting cracks. So I like the iron. So I'm gonna go ahead and get a new tray out and start filling cups with soil. Now I don't need to fill them all the way. These are about 3/4 of the way, maybe 2/3 of the way filled. And if I fill them all the way up, I'm going to be using more soil, and that's just not necessary. My sprouted plants. This is dill over here. I need to do the same thing with the dill. And I have my cups. These are all, they only have soil and some water in them. And I like to use a spoon to scoop these out, or a fork. A spoon is what I have handy though. All right, so I'm gonna start by scooping out. I'm gonna try not to hurt the roots. Disturbing is okay, especially these nightshade things. So I'm just basically scooping out, so you can see I've got 2 here. And I separate them out, and you can see there are little roots in there. So I'm gonna use one at a time. Take off his little hat. So that's my pepper plant. And make sure my soil's nice and packed. Make a little hole in the middle. Plug this guy in, planting around him. Now he might lay down at first. It feels like it needs more water. So there you go. So like I said, he might lay down at first depending on how you have that in there, but under the light he'll stand back up. So that's one. I think I have 18 in this tray to do, and then I'll be doing a second tray. So I'm going to keep working as I talk about starting seeds. Another thing I like to do to start seeds is just plant right in these cups or pots. If you're doing that, then that's one less step. You don't have to do this whole pick them apart or pick them out stage or step. So that is a little bit easier. And if I'm only using new seeds, sometimes I do that. If I'm low on time, sometimes I do that. If I know like I'm planting a little bit later than usual, I might do that. I have different reasons for starting seeds in different ways. Another way I really like to start seeds is with a soil blocker. So this is a soil block maker. You can get these smaller. This has been out here for a minute, so it's got a few cobwebs on it. You can get these smaller. I think they do like a 6 or 12 plug, tiny little seed starting plugs. But this is a 4 block, and basically I would have a tray of moistened soil, drop this down and press it, pushing it and packing in some of that soil, and then I would place this in a tray that I want to start the seeds in. Janie hears me, she's just loud all the time. And then push the soil blocks at that point down and lift the whole apparatus up. And you can see it would leave these little dimples, and it leaves a good little dimple in the soil block for a place to start the seeds. So the soil block is nice because there's just no waste. You're starting your seeds in there, and then ideally you're putting them out right out into your garden. So that's a no waste solution, so that you're not using containers. Another option I've tried, and I didn't care for them at all, were little grow bags, like miniature grow bags. They're supposed to be fabric and they're supposed to be biodegradable, but I found that even at the end of the season, they were still in my beds. And even getting those started plants into my beds, they didn't do a very good job of breaking at the bottoms like they're supposed to. It's supposed to be easy for the roots of the plants to bust out through the bottom of the bag. I didn't like them. I ended up giving them away because the roots did not do that, and those that I had left in became root bound, and once a plant becomes root bound, it's forever stunted, and so that was no good. Another option is to use the little peat pots. I've done that before, but I don't love it. They dry out quickly. They are a good, easy way for somebody to get started if you're willing to babysit your starts, your seedlings, and you don't forget to water. That's the only thing with those. The peat dries out pretty quickly. But they're easy to use. A lot of people use them. They're available at most of your stores, including like Walmart, from your big stores down to your little stores. And so a lot of people do like those. And I guess the last thing that I would say about starting seeds is that I would want to encourage you to do your own seeds if you can, if you remember, if you have the time before the growing season starts, to start your own seeds. Now, reasons we start our own seeds, even though we're in Florida and we have year-round growing, the heat really kicks in pretty quickly. And so once that happens, we don't have a lot of opportunity to grow our tomatoes and things like that. Peppers are fine, but once their heat really kicks in, all their tomatoes don't like the cold. They also don't like 100 plus degree and heat indexes every day. So we like to get a jump start. We also get a quicker product out of our garden, and that's something that we all enjoy, right? We want those fresh vegetables as soon as possible. All right, so it's a little funny, but we are starting the cold season things. Those are the brassicas. This is our last opportunity really to get those going before it gets too hot for them to go in the garden. And we are doing our warm season things like peppers, eggplants, what else? Peppers and eggplants for right now. I'm not really starting much else because it's just too soon still. It's January 23rd and our last frost date is the middle of March. So if I start tomatoes now, I'm gonna have to pot them up, which is not impossible. Okay, so one thing real quick, the peppers that I am transplanting, the bigger little sprouted guys that look more like this, these small ones that look like this, I'm probably not gonna bother with. If I didn't have enough that germinated, I might wanna baby those along. And maybe that's wasteful, I don't know. I just, I feel like I'm only gonna work with the strongest, biggest plants. So those little guys, I'm not totally gonna waste them. I'm gonna throw them to the chickens. Another reason we start our own seeds is because we can't find these varieties for sale all the time. So the cool thing about starting your own seeds is you get to pick and choose what grows in your garden based on your preference, and you can shop online for that. Where if I only buy started plants, I'm bound by only what the local places around offer. So while there might be 2 or 3 varieties of peppers, they might not have these mini honey sweet peppers. I don't even know what they're called, but I grew them from a grocery store pepper last year and they were great. They were my favorite. And so I saved the seeds to start some more. So I'm just gonna keep working here until they're all done. And then I'm gonna put them back on the heat mat. Actually, I'm gonna put this tray back on the heat mat because I have basil that's still trying to sprout. It takes a little time. And I have some other peppers in another tray I need to move. I have this dill I need to move. But I'm super excited to start my 2023 garden, and I hope that you are too. And I hope that you will follow along and watch the progress of these. Peppers really don't get going until late summer. I mean, we'll get a few here and there before then, but late summer they really kick into gear, and it'll be fun to share with you what we started together today. So if you liked this video, I hope you will give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel, and I will have more content coming at you hopefully tomorrow. Until next time, bye.